evening, viewers. You're watching GW News Recap. I'm your anchor, Azan Jamir, bringing to you the top stories of the week. Let's have a look at the stories that made it to the headlines. In a grim development in violence hit Manipur, the bodies of 6 Naga persons abducted during the Kuki-Naga clashes on May 13 were recovered nearly a month later on June 10. In a significant step towards unlocking hydrocarbon resources in the disputed Assam-Nagaland border areas, a tripartite memorandum of understanding on mineral oil operations in the Assam-Nagaland boundary areas was signed on June 11 between the Government of India and the Government of Assam and Nagaland. 5 Indian Air Force personnel, including 2 officers, were killed on June 13 when an Antonov AN-32 transport aircraft crashed during landing at Jorhat in Assam. The Assam government has revised the rates on different categories of liquor, a move that may lead to an increase in retail prices across the state. Football fever swept across the globe as the 2026 FIFA World Cup got underway on June 12, marking the start of a month-long celebration of the world's most popular sport. And now the news in details. In a significant development amid the ongoing unrest in Manipur, the bodies of 6 Naga individuals who were abducted during the Kuki-Naga clashes on May 13 were recovered on June 10, bringing a tragic turn to a case that had sparked widespread concern and calls for their safe return. The bodies of the 6 men were recovered near Karam YP village in Kangpokpi district. Manipur police said that the bodies were found after nearly 24 hours of sustained search operations involving around 450 personnel from the Manipur Police, CRPF and Assam Rifles, assisted by sniffer dogs and forensic teams. The 6 were abducted during the violence that erupted after 3 Kuki church leaders were killed and 5 others injured amid tensions between the Kuki and Naga communities in Manipur's hill districts. The recovery comes a day after the United Naga Council confirmed that 14 Kuki hostages who were allegedly kidnapped during the same period had been released by the Naga groups. Following the incident, UNC announced a 24-hour total shutdown across Naga areas from 6 a.m. June 11, demanding justice for the victims and their families. The apex Naga body in Manipur said the mortal remains of the 6 victims will not be received until its charter of demands is addressed by both the centre and the Manipur government. The demands include application of the suspension of operations agreement with Kuki militant groups, arrest and prosecution of those allegedly involved in the abductions and killings, and declaration of the Kuki group KNFP as a terrorist organization. It also demanded immediate removal of Deputy CM Kipkin. Meanwhile, Nagaland Chief Minister Nipirio and Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma condemned the brutal killing of 6 Naga civilians. The recoveries came a day after 14 Kuki individuals abducted by the Naga armed groups in Senapati district on May 13 were released. Tensions between the 2 predominantly Christian communities escalated after church leaders from the Dowdao Baptist Association India were gunned down in an attack that Kuki groups blamed on Naga armed outfits. In retaliation, a Chiru Naga civilian was shot dead in None district and several other Naga villagers were abducted in Kangpokpi district. Soon after, Naga groups abducted more than 2,000 Kuki villagers in Senapati district. On May 15, both sides freed 14 hostages each, but Naga groups continued to hold 14 Kuki villagers, insisting on the release of the 6 men they said had been taken by Kuki groups. Kuki organizations maintained that all their hostages had been released and denied knowledge of the missing Naga men. In a significant step towards unlocking hydrocarbon resources in the disputed Assam-Nagaland border areas, a tripartite memorandum of understanding on mineral oil operations in the Assam-Nagaland boundary areas was signed on June 11 between the Government of India and the governments of Assam and Nagaland. The agreement was signed in New Delhi in the presence of Union Home Minister Amit Shah, Union Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, Nagaland Chief Minister Dr. Nipirio, and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma. The MOU is aimed at undertaking oil and mineral explorations in the disputed area belt along the Assam-Nagaland border. Union Home Minister Amit Shah described the signing as a historic moment and congratulated the Nagaland government on the commencement of oil exploration activities across the state, including operations in 6 identified fields. He stated that the agreement between the centre, Assam and Nagaland would pave the way for the exploration of oil, natural gas and mineral resources across the northeast. Shah noted that the region's natural wealth could not be fully utilized in the past because of law and order challenges and unresolved disputes. With the agreement now in place, he said existing exploitation capacities of around 1,000 to 1,500 barrels could increase nearly tenfold. Calling the agreement an example of cooperative federalism, Shah said the MOU had removed one of the major obstacles to the vision of a developed Northeast and would be remembered as a milestone in advancing the region's growth under a nation-first approach. Nagaland CM Rio termed the signing a historic day and said the agreement would open a new chapter for the state by enhancing economic activity, improving resource management and strengthening interstate cooperation through dialogue and mutual respect. He further expressed hope that the agreement would usher in a new era of brotherhood, collaboration and shared prosperity between Nagaland and Assam and be implemented in both letter and spirit. Assam Chief Minister said the long-standing boundary issue between the two states had prevented the utilization of valuable natural resources in the area for many years. With the signing of the MOU, he said a major bottleneck had been removed. According to Sharma, the agreement would unlock more than 1,000 square kilometers of area along the Assam-Nagaland border, believed to hold significant energy and mineral reserves for exploration and production. He described the development as a major step towards strengthening India's energy security and achieving greater energy self-sufficiency driven by the Northeast. The MOU comes amid renewed efforts by the centre and the two states to strengthen cooperation in the management of shared natural resources and promote economic development in the region. 5 Indian Air Force personnel, including 2 officers, were killed on June 13 when an Antonov AN-32 transport aircraft crashed during landing at Jorhat in Assam. Of the 6 personnel on board, 1 was rescued and his condition was said to be serious. The IAF identified the 5 dead personnel as Squadron Leader Prashant Singh, Flight Lieutenant Shubham Kumar, Sergeant Jitendra Sharma, Agniveer Kemaram Kumawat and Agniveer Danish Alam. A court of inquiry is being constituted to ascertain the cause of the incident. In a Boson X, the IAF said it deeply regrets the loss of 5 personnel who made the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty. According to the sources, the aircraft took off around 10 am on a sortie from Jorhat to Chaubwa. The crew, it is learned, sought a landing soon after takeoff. Upon landing, it veered off the runway, crossed the parallel taxiway and broke into pieces before catching fire. Rescue efforts with fire tenders and ambulances were launched immediately. Sources indicated that the aircraft belonged to the IAF's 43 Squadron and had undergone an overhaul and upgrade in recent years as part of the modernization program for AN-32S. This is a third major crash of an AN-32 in the last 10 years. Bought in 1984 from the erstwhile Soviet Union, the AN-32 is a critical workhorse of IAF. At least 2 of these aircraft have crashed since 2016, killing 42 IAF personnel. On July 22, 2016, an AN-32 went missing over the Bay of Bengal, flying from Daparam Air Force Station, Chennai to Port Blair. There were 29 people on board. On June 3, 2019, an AN-32 crashed in hilly terrain when it was heading to Mechukai in West Siang district of Arunachal Pradesh near the border with China, killing 13 on board. The Assam government has revised the rates on different categories of liquor, a move that may lead to an increase in retail prices across the state. According to an official notification by the Excise Department, new rates have been fixed for various types of liquor by linking them to the market price and setting a minimum charge per bottle. Under the new system, beer with higher alcohol content will carry a minimum charge of Rs 38 for a 650 ml bottle for mid-range or luxury brands priced up to Rs 550. The minimum has been fixed at Rs 185. Higher-end categories will also see changes. Bottle price up to Rs 700 will have a minimum charge of Rs 233, while those price up to Rs 1100 will carry Rs 312. Premium bottles above 1,100 will have a minimum charge of Rs 530. Lower price strong liquor will have a minimum charge of Rs 36 per 750 ml bottle. Officials said the revised structure is expected to impact prices in the market. The new rates will come into effect from July 1. Additionally, the Assam government has introduced major changes to liquor rules to bring tighter control over sales, shop locations and licenses. The new rules were announced after approval from the governor and have come into effect immediately across the state. Under the revised rules, liquor shop owners must ensure a fixed minimum yearly payment to the government, which will be collected in 4 installments. Failure to meet the required payment will result in penalties and additional charges. The government has also introduced stricter distance norms between liquor shops in Guwahati. Shops must be at least 500 meters apart. In towns and municipal areas, the distance must be 1 kilometer, while in rural areas, it has been set at 2 kilometers. New guidelines have also been issued for the sale of liquor bottles. Retail shops can now sell only sealed bottles of 180 ml or more, while bars must use bottles of at least 750 ml and follow standard serving measures. Rules for shifting liquor shops have also been tightened. Shops cannot be moved from rural areas to urban areas, although shifting from urban to rural areas is allowed. There are also restrictions on moving shops between districts, particularly involving Guwahati. The government has also taken steps to support traditional local liquor made by indigenous communities. Production limits have been set and license fees have been reduced to encourage local producers. At least 55 people were killed, 38 missing and 1,120 injured after a 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck off the southern coast of Mindanao, Philippines on June 12. According to the official data, the disaster affected more than 86,000 families involving over 3.90 lakh people. Some 19,000 houses were damaged and power supplies in 48 cities and municipalities were disrupted. Roads, bridges, airports and seaport facilities sustained damage and were hampered in their operations. A total of more than 3,700 personnel have been dispatched for search and rescue operations in hit-hard areas. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology said the tectonic earthquake occurred at a depth of 33 km with the epicenter 32 km southwest of the coast of Masim town in Sarangani province on Mindanao Island. The institute said it recorded more than 3,860 aftershocks from the major tremor. The Philippines experiences frequent seismic activity due to its location along the Pacific Ring of Fire, a zone of major tectonic plate boundaries known for earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. Sports fans across the world witnessed a month-long football spectacle as the 2026 FIFA World Cup kicked off on June 12 at the historic Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. This edition of the World Cup is the biggest in history, with an expansion from 32 to 48 teams. A record of 104 matches will be played, with 72 in the group stage and 32 in the knockout rounds. Across host nations, the United States, Canada and Mexico. The 3 host nations qualified automatically, while 45 teams earned their places through a demanding 2-year qualification journey. The competition features 12 groups of 4 teams each. The top 2 teams from every group, along with the 8 best third-place teams, will advance to the round of 32. This expands the knockout stage to 32 teams for the first time in tournament history. The grand final is scheduled for 19th of July, promising a thrilling conclusion to football's create a celebration. This World Cup is also expected to be one of the most challenging in history, with teams facing demanding conditions across 3 countries, including long travel distances, varying climates, different altitudes, and shifting time zones. Over the decades, only 8 nations have lifted the FIFA World Cup trophy, namely Brazil, Italy, Germany, Spain, Argentina, England, France, and Uruguay, the inaugural champions. Among the most unfortunate sides in World Cup history remain the Netherlands, who have reached 3 finals but are yet to win the title despite producing generations of world-class talent. From history to high stakes, from legends to new challengers, the stage is set for football's ultimate battle. Well, viewers, that's it for this week's news recap, and for more news like this, you stay connected to Global Window.